Committee will reconvene. Our second witness today is Mr. Robert Kazami, Director of the Division of Enforcement at the Securities and Exchange Commission. It is committee policy that all witnesses are sworn in. So if you would stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, answer in the affirmative.
I do.
You may be seated. Let the record reflect that the witness answered in the affirmative. Mr. Kazami, you may begin.
Thank you. Chairman Towns, Ranking Member Issa, Congressman Kucinich. My name is Robert Kazami, and I am Director of the Division of Enforcement of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I became Director on March 29th of this year. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on behalf of the SEC regarding Bank of America's acquisition of Merrill Lynch. The committee's invitation asks about the SEC's litigation against Bank of America. Because the enforcement action is ongoing, discussion of certain aspects of this litigation pose a risk of negatively affecting our case. I am happy, however, to discuss elements of our publicly filed court papers. The complaint in our case concerns a November 2008 joint proxy statement that Bank of America and Merrill sent to their shareholders soliciting shareholder approval for Bank of America's acquisition of Merrill. The complaint alleges that the proxy statement violated proxy solicitation provisions because it contained material faults and misleading statements. Specifically, we allege that Bank of America represented in the proxy statement that Merrill had agreed not to pay year-end performance bonuses to its executives prior to the closing of the merger without Bank of America's consent. Bank of America, however, failed to disclose that it already had consented to Merrill's payment of up to $5.8 billion in discretionary year-end and other bonuses to Merrill executives. That complaint alleges Bank of America's omission of the information rendering the proxy statement misleading and false. At the time we filed our complaint, the Commission submitted a consent judgment for the Court's consideration under which Bank of America agreed to settle on terms that included payment of $33 million and the entry of an injunction prohibiting it from further proxy solicitation violations. As you know, the judge declined to approve the settlement, and the litigation is thus ongoing. The judge's decision has not affected our underlying case, which is set for trial in March of next year. We stand by our charges and have used the additional discovery available in the litigation to further pursue the facts and to determine whether or not additional claims are appropriate. In determining how to proceed, we will, as always, be guided by what the facts warrant and the law provides. With regard to the proposed settlement, we believe it was reasonable, appropriate, and in the public interest, and also properly balanced the relevant factors that must be considered when assessing any settlement. Where a corporate issuer fails to meet its statutory obligations, the need for deterrence is paramount. The proposed penalty, which would have been the second largest ever imposed in a proxy statement case, would have sent a clear message that proxy solicitations must include the substance of separate non-public documents when the failure to do so results in material misrepresentations or omissions. It also clearly communicated to shareholders and the public that management had failed to keep the company in compliance with securities laws and undercut the position, now asserted by Bank of America, that there was no legal requirement to disclose such information. Importantly, these objectives would have been achieved in a way that did not place an undue burden on shareholders. Although a $33 million penalty is a significant amount, it is not likely to have had a material adverse financial impact on individual innocent shareholders, given the billions of shares of Bank of America stock then outstanding. You have also asked why our complaint did not charge individuals. The SEC pursued the charges we believed were appropriate based on the investigative record and applicable law. The securities provisions that govern proxy statements are directed to those who solicit proxies or in whose name proxies are solicited. Here, the corporations solicited the proxies. As such, Bank of America had a legal obligation that we alleged it failed to meet. To establish that individuals aided and abetted a proxy solicitation violation or committed fraud under the securities laws, it is necessary to prove scienter, or knowing or reckless misconduct. Based on the record that existed at that time, we did not believe that we could fairly and properly assert scienter-based charges against individuals under the applicable legal standards. We have followed and will continue to follow any additional evidence developed wherever it leads. I want to be clear that the proposed settlement in no way reflects a change in the Commission's approach to pursuing charges against individuals who violate the federal securities laws. The Commission has been and will continue to be aggressive in bringing actions against individuals who violate the securities laws, and also will continue to vigorously pursue penalties from culpable individuals, including corporate executives. In fact, as outlined in my written testimony, the Commission recently has filed a number of enforcement actions against corporate executives charging violations of the federal securities laws and seeking extensive remedies. Thank you for the opportunity to address these important issues, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you very much. And again, we apologize for the break, but we have to vote around here. So, Mr. Kazami, I know you are currently preparing the case against Bank of America, and I don't want to do anything, say anything that's going to jeopardize your case. But in general, what is the SEC? What do they believe Bank of America did wrong? What do you think happened here that was wrong?
Mr. Chairman, in our complaint, we allege that the proxy materials that were sent to shareholders, which was the basis upon which they would decide as to whether or not to vote to approve the merger, stated that Merrill Lynch could not pay discretionary bonuses without the consent of Bank of America. In fact, what the proxy solicitation did not disclose, that there already had been an agreement that Bank of America would allow Merrill to pay up to $5.8 billion in exactly those kinds of bonuses. So the proxy was misleading because it suggested that no consent had been given and no such bonuses would be paid without such consent, when in fact the consent had already been given.
Mm-hmm. You know, I know you're a very serious prosecutor, and that's what we need in this day and age. What can we expect from the SEC going forward in terms of aggressive enforcement against corporate wrongdoers? What can we expect from this point on?
Well,
we're talking about a lot of money here.
I understand. Look, first I would point to the recent cases that we have brought against corporate executives. In the mortgage fraud area alone, we have charged the CEOs, the CFOs, or other senior executives in New Century, Countrywide, American Home Mortgage, Brook Street Securities. We charged Hank Greenberg and another official at AIG. So just in the recent past, we have gone vigorously after those individuals who we believe were heading companies that engaged in one form or another of fraud or wrongdoing, particularly with respect to mortgage and mortgage-related products. So I think past is prologue, and you will continue to see that kind of approach. Under Chairman Mary Shapiro, we're embarking on a number of internal efforts to streamline our processes and make ourselves more responsive, but we are reinvigorated and rededicated to that effort.
But you do feel that you have the tools to be able to do the job that needs to be done. No legislation or anything is required in order to be able to move forward with this aggressive approach that, you know, the word around here now is robust approach.
Robust, yes, yes. Well, look, we have a number of legislative proposals that we have presented, particularly involving hedge fund registration, the creation of a central clearing party for derivative transactions, more and better information on exactly the kind of trading and activity that goes on in some of these over-the-counter and opaque markets. In addition, we've sought legislation regarding nationwide service of process and some other things to help make our job easier. And lastly, of course, funding is a significant issue. We have, I think the last statistics I saw, over 35,000 regulated entities that the SEC is responsible for between issuers, broker-dealers, investment advisors, transfer agents, credit rating agencies, and that's before we get to hedge fund registration. And despite those numbers, the enforcement staff is 1,100 total. I think that additional funding would also go a long way toward helping us complete our mission.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you for your testimony. I now yield to the gentleman from California, Ranking Member Mr. Issa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kazami, I know you were not on board on December 18th of last year, but are you familiar with the document dated December 10th, which was delivered to the Fed on that date, which is called the fourth quarter '08 fiscal, or F, walk down, the so-called walk down document?
I do not believe I have seen it, Congressman.
Okay, well, let me just, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent this be placed in the record at this time.
Without objection.
It's already in our information, but I want to make sure it's in the record at this point.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I apologize, it's December 17th, I believe, it was delivered. It would not probably surprise you to know that it actually, on page 6, it lays out those bonuses. Mr. Bernanke, Mr. Paulson had that on those days in December. Had you been in the room when this was delivered, in other words, you, the SEC, would you have then been aware of the failure of the proxy in time to at least begin action at that point in December?
Well, I guess you would have to know exactly what was said in the proxy and then compare that to the information that was then available.
But you knew that. You have compliance people. You are hand in hand, and you get paid to make sure that the public is protected throughout the process of a merger. So let me ask you the real question. We're the Government Oversight Committee, and it's a double entendre because we oversee the government. We're also the government entity that oversees a number of things that are outside the government. But in this case, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, and the SEC, as I understand it through testimony again and again, the SEC was locked out of this process during that time and did not get into the process until January. Isn't that correct? You were not, your agency was not informed of what the Fed was doing or the Treasury was doing, and you were not at these meetings. You were conspicuous in your absence, right?
I understand that's correct, yes.
So from a standpoint of the Security Exchange Commission, the respect that Treasury and the Fed should show in the future, shouldn't you be at the table if tens of billions of dollars of taxpayers' money are being thrown in to complete a merger, and at the moment that an executive, a party, says, I'm looking at the MAC clause, I'm looking at breaking up this because things have changed, or things were not disclosed, or we have learned something, wouldn't that, in your opinion, be an absolute mandate for the Security Exchange Commission to be in the room from that time forward?
Well, Congressman, I think if it was a matter that impacted on the SEC's jurisdiction or responsibilities with respect to shareholder disclosure, regulation of the securities markets, the answer would be yes.
Now I'm going to ask you a hypothetical, but it's not much of a hypothetical. If you had been in the room on December 17th, 18th, 19th, if you had been in the room when they said, this is not going to go forward because there have been material adverse effects, and on top of that you were aware of misstatements in the proxy, would you have interjected at least your oversight, your opinion, and your demand that compliance to law be adhered to, which it wasn't?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that I would have commented on whether or not a MAC clause was properly invoked or not.
But we've already had testimony that if they invoke the MAC, they have to go back to the stockholders.
Correct.
And the federal government came in with $20 billion, and there's some debate about whether it was forced on B of A or B of A demanded it. Regardless of which one that is, at that point when there's new money, a MAC clause, or money in lieu of, and on top of that material misinformation in the proxy, shouldn't you be in the room? And more importantly, if you are in the room, wouldn't you have acted to at least advise, and let's assuming you're willing to take on, the Fed chairman and the Secretary of the Treasury, that in fact they're crossing lines at that point that should not be crossed. They are failing to disclose to the very stockholders, the public, that you protect?
Well, if those events triggered a disclosure obligations, we would certainly communicate that.
For Christ's sake, we've had 5, 6 hearings. Mr. Kucinich has dedicated probably a whole wall of his library to this very question, and you're saying if? Let's go back again. They failed to disclose these bonuses. It became aware, the Fed and the Treasury became aware of that. They also became aware that these losses were mounting, and through a negotiation behind closed doors in which you were locked out, they negotiated additional money, now repaid, but additional money to make B of A go through with this deal, or to encourage, or in fact on their demand to have them go through. So all of that occurred with your agency locked out of the room. Are you going to tell me today if there was something to be reported, or are you going to say, like Sheila Bair that was here earlier, yes, I would like to have been in the room, and if I had been in the room, or when I was in the room, I wish I had said or done more? Which is it? Are you going to say the SEC should darn well be in the room and be protecting stockholders, or are you going to say if today? Which one is it?
No, I'm sorry. Perhaps I didn't make myself clear.
I think I did.
Yes, you did, Congressman. Very clear. My only point was that we would certainly like to be in the room anytime there are discussions that go on that affect shareholders and the entities and individuals that we regulate and protect. My only point was a more modest one, whether or not discussions about invoking a MAC clause necessarily trigger disclosure obligations under the federal securities laws.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your indulgence. I think we made the point that Mr. Kucinich and I have both been wanting to make, and I look forward to continuing to follow up on it. Yield back.
Right. At this time, I will yield to the chair of the Domestic Policy Subcommittee, gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Kucinich.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say at the outset of my friend from California that there is a distinction between what you're discussing and what our subcommittee has been doing. And that is that you're talking about disclosure events that occurred after the shareholder vote. Our focus in this subcommittee has been about disclosure events before the shareholder vote. Now, Mr. Kazami, my subcommittee investigation has found that Bank of America relied on the November 12th forecast for fourth quarter 2008 created by Merrill Lynch that omitted any forecast of how collateralized debt obligations, subprime mortgage-backed securities, credit default swaps would perform in the quarter. The former Merrill CFO admitted to staff that the November 12th forecast was not, in fact, a valid forecast. Bank of America knew at the time that the November 12th forecast was of questionable validity. It's in quotes. However, Bank of America did not do any actual financial analysis to make up for the Merrill omissions. Instead, Bank of America merely pulled out of thin air a number on November 13th, which was recorded on a forecast document as the gut feeling of Neil Cotty, Bank of America's chief accounting officer. The attorneys at Bank of America and at Wachtell Lipton did not question the financial information they were given in spite of the glaring and obvious omission and the explicit reference to a gut feeling. They advised Bank of America not to make further disclosures to its shareholders in advance of the merger vote based on the information in the deficient forecast and a gut feeling. The November 12th forecast omission of any projection for losses in the CDOs and other illiquid investments, and the implication that Merrill Lynch would break even in those investments for the remainder of the quarter was material to the advice attorneys gave Bank of America. Now, when I asked Ken Lewis about this at our first hearing, he told us he relied on advice of counsel. Protecting shareholders is often, in the final instance, the responsibility of corporate general counsels and their outside counsel. The subcommittee's investigative findings demand the question, where were the lawyers? The glaring omissions and inaccurate financial data in the critical November 12th forecast so obvious that they should have alerted the attorneys to the necessity of a reasonable investigation before making a decision on Bank of America's legal duties to disclose. The apparent fact they did not mount such an investigation makes the decision not to disclose Merrill's losses to shareholders an egregious violation of security laws. Mr. Kazami, in March, GAO issued a scathing report on the effect of Christopher Cox's leadership of the SEC in reducing corporate penalties and formal investigations at exactly the time that the CDOs and CDSs were proliferating. To Chairman Shapiro's credit, she rescinded the Cox policy and she appointed you to reinvigorate the enforcement division. Now, I am concerned that one pernicious aspect of the Cox legacy may have survived: the unwillingness to pursue, as GAO wrote, quote, more complicated cases, those with industry-wide implications, in favor of those seen as more routine, unquote. Mr. Kazami, this is the test case. This is the case with industry-wide implications, where what is at issue is the performance of the attorneys in interpreting the nation's securities laws strictly or permissively. Here's the case where the SEC's Shapiro breaks with the SEC's Christopher Cox. Mr. Kazami, is the SEC widening its investigation to include the issue of Bank of America's failure to disclose to its shareholders the mounting losses at Merrill Lynch, known or knowable, by mid-November 2008, weeks before the shareholder vote on the merger?
Congressman, we have been and are looking at all aspects of the activity with respect to the proxy statements, including the fourth quarter losses at Merrill Lynch.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a yes.
If it's a yes, then the work of this committee has been worthwhile, because you now have a chance to do your job, because we've done ours, and the information that we've uncovered should facilitate your investigation. I thank the gentleman. I thank the chair. I yield back.
Right, thank you very much. Now yield to gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Lukemeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kazami, Mr. Bernanke and Paulson were negotiating with Merrill Lynch and Bank of America. They didn't disclose this. They didn't want to put in writing the transaction they were about to embark on here and about to approve and had been working with. If they did that, that would have been a disclosable event that the SEC would have been able to come in to and be a part of and have some oversight over. What's your opinion of this transaction, how it all happened, and this unwillingness to put this in writing?
Well, Congressman, what the securities law require is that if that understanding had solidified to a material contract, then it would have been required to have been disclosed under what's known as Form A case. So Bank of America would have had to make a disclosure if it rose to the level of an enforceable contract. And, you know, that's...
yeah, but isn't this skirting the law by them saying, we're going to have a little wink and nod agreement here, and let's don't put this in writing, let's all just have a gentleman's handshake on it? I mean, aren't they trying to subvert what really is a necessary part of a transaction? Is it the disclosure to all of the parties involved?
Well, Congressman, you know, it wouldn't be appropriate to comment on my views of that in light of the ongoing nature of the investigation, but certainly there can be circumstances where there is an enforceable contract, even though it's not formally written down, in which case it may trigger the disclosure obligations.
Okay, following along that process, and do you see something that has happened here that you think needs to be changed in existing law? Do we need to have something more clarified by the way that we have these transactions take place so that there is more disclosure?
Congressman, we sort of constantly review our disclosure rules and regulations to determine whether or not more disclosure or different disclosure is appropriate. That process is ongoing now. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act required us to consider more real-time or robust disclosure, and that's a process that continues, and we would certainly take the experience here and determine whether or not we should change our rules and regulations appropriately.
Okay, well, you still haven't said, yes, there are some things we need to do, and they are. Can you fill in the blank there?
Well, the question whether or not events such as these should require more affirmative disclosure obligation is something that we're considering. So, for example, contracts or discussions short of a formal legally enforceable obligation, should that be disclosed even though all the terms aren't finalized? Or interim results that may not rise to the level of a material impairment of an asset, which is the current standard, whether or not that should be disclosed. So,
are you currently looking at doing that with your rules and regulations, or do we need to have some congressional action, or what do you think we need to do?
Senator, I mean, Congressman, that's something that we look at on a regular basis, and we're looking at now.
Okay. As someone who has gone through this and been in the middle of it, And we're in the process now congressionally to try and do something with this too big to fail situation. What do you see that we're not doing with the legislation that's proposed that you think would be advantageous or would be a big aid to you, or would be something that we could do in the future to mitigate or minimize some of the things that are going on or that have gone on?
Congressman, look, from an enforcement perspective, which is my perspective, transparency and information is critical. We cannot determine if misconduct is going on in markets if we don't have complete and accurate and standardized information about what is going on. So, for example, registration of hedge funds, which would require better reporting and stronger compliance and inspection authority would be highly beneficial.
Okay, the transparency and the registration that's in the bill right now, does it go far enough? Does it go too far? What's your opinion?
If I might, I'm not sure I understand the full and complete details of what's in the current version of the bill, so if I could have an opportunity to respond to you, I would appreciate that. But the same is true in the derivatives markets. We would like that kind of information. One case we brought, for example, recently involved insider trading, which typically takes place in the equity world, in stocks, was actually going on in the credit default swap market. And yet we don't have nearly the same kind of information in that market as we do in the equities.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Kasami. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time has expired. And now I'll call on gentleman from Baltimore, Mr. Cummings, who's a very active member of this committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Kasami, I got to tell you, as I listened to my good friend and colleague, Congressman Kucinich, he said our work is done, and I don't think our work is done. And let me tell you why. As you know, the SEC, in the case of the SEC versus Bank of America, there was a settlement that was submitted to the federal court in New York on August 3rd, 2009. The settlement agreement provided for the Bank of America to pay $33 million in fines for making false and misleading statements and proxy statements to shareholders. Bank of America, of course, told shareholders that no year-end bonuses would be paid to Merrill Lynch executives, when in fact it had been agreed that Bank of America would pay up to $5.8 billion in bonuses to Merrill executives. Putting aside the fact that $5.8 billion was to be paid to the executives of a company that was hemorrhaging money at the time, the decision to settle the matter for $33 million struck many of us as being a perverse outcome. Here was a company with $45 billion in government assistance, $20 billion of which was from this exact deal, and the Securities and Exchange Commission let them pay a fine. And this is the piece that got me. Pay a fine with our money, with taxpayers' dollars. Does this strike you as fair to the taxpayer shareholders? Does it fit your mission of protecting American investors? To me, it's like you find somebody and then take somebody else's money to pay the fine, and I'm trying to figure out, where's the punishment in that? Where's the enforcement in that? I mean, if I'm sitting back, I say, oh boy, I got a great day here, got the public's money to pay the fine, everything's fine, I don't have to pay a dime. And then one of the things that I read about the settlement, once I read about it, I fired off a letter to your Inspector General, David Coates, asking him to look into the settlement. I just read in Mr. Coates' recent semi-annual report to Congress that he is in the midst of this investigation, and I look forward to his conclusions. One of the main reasons I requested the investigation was because I would not be the least bit surprised that in the aftermath of this crisis, that further securities laws violations are uncovered, and the violations may have occurred at a firm that has received government assistance. In that case, what is the calculus that is used to determine how to punish a company without penalizing the involuntary investors in the firm, the taxpayers. And I want you to understand, I'm concerned about when we catch folks, what is the thinking that goes into the process of how to punish them? Because to me, this was not punishment, and I'm glad the judge did reject it. And I know you may not be able to talk but so much about the case, but I assume you can talk about what goes into your thinking as the #1 guy who addresses these issues, and the only person that you answer to is Ms. Shapiro, Mary Shapiro. Is that right? It's you, and then straight up to her. Is that right?
That's correct.
So help me with this. I mean, as a lawyer, I'm trying to figure it. I'm trying. Man, when I read this, I got so upset because I said it makes absolutely no sense. And I know you've got a great answer for me, and I'm waiting to hear it.
Well, Congressman, let me take each of those. First, with respect to the amount of the fine, the penalties that we assess have to be proportionate to the actual wrongdoing that occurred. And here, the wrongdoing was not the payment of the bonuses. That may be excessive and wrong as a policy matter, as a corporate governance matter, as a number of other matters, but from a pure enforcement point of view, the wrong was the failure to disclose to shareholders that they said that they would not pay bonuses without Bank of America's approval when they had already agreed to pay the money. And so the wrong was the deprivation of information to the shareholders in deciding how to vote, not the fact that the amount of money that was paid was illegal or proper in and of itself. So we look at the wrongdoing, which was the process.
Okay, I got that. And they had a duty to disclose. Is that right?
Well, yes, they have a duty to make sure that the statements in the proxy are not misleading. So
Right.
the number of 5.8 million or 3.6 billion, 5.8 billion, although it was 3.6 billion was ultimately paid, is not, I don't think, the measure of the wrong. The wrong was that they did not tell shareholders who needed all the information they could to decide whether or not to vote. So that was the starting point. Then we look at the amount, and we looked at our precedent. In the proxy violation area, the largest fine that we had imposed was 38 million, give or take or so, in a case involving, frankly, more egregious conduct than this because it involved manipulation of their stock and obstruction and other things in addition to the proxy violation. Next, we try and balance the benefit of the harm, the benefit of the penalty versus the burden on the shareholders. So we recognize that penalties that we assessed may come out of the pockets of shareholders who may themselves have been wronged by the conduct.
Right.
So we try and balance. But we have to still impose the penalties because it sends a strong deterrent message to other corporations and other issuers that this kind of conduct will not be tolerated. The deterrence message is critical. It tells others they shouldn't do it. It says that if you do it, you're going to pay a cost. It incentivizes them to fix their own problems before we come knocking. It allows us to leverage our limited resources so that companies voluntarily engage in corrective measures rather than us having to go to each one of them. The lawyers read these things, the corporate executives read these decisions, they implement changes. So there's many good reasons to have the penalty, but we don't want to burden the shareholders more than necessary. That's a balancing that we look at under our penalty guidelines, and we come to the best determination that we can.
See, my time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentlewoman from California, Ms. Spears.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Huzami, I am deeply troubled by your description of what took place. You said that the bank misled the shareholders. The bank didn't mislead the shareholders. It lied to the shareholders. It was a bald-faced lie. Now, on a proxy statement, if you make a bald-faced lie, I think that you should have a penalty that is so strong that you won't ever do it again. Now, the courts seem to believe that $33 million was insufficient. Who initiated the settlement?
Congressman, this was a settlement that was...
Who initiated it? Did SEC go to the Bank of America and say, let's settle this, or did the Bank of America come to the SEC and say, let's settle this?
I don't know the answer to that, Congressman. Typically, settlements result from both parties coming together and discussing the possibility of
Someone
settlement.
initiates it. And if you don't have the answer today, I would appreciate it if you'd make that available to the committee.
Certainly.
All right. You based your decision on the fact that there was a precedent where $38 million was fined in another setting. Now, you know that the SEC historically, when you were not a member of the staff, was reducing its enforcement actions dramatically. In fact, a recent GAO study indicated that the enforcement actions had been reduced by some 80% and the disgorgement actions, I believe, by some 60%. Presuming those figures are indeed accurate, I may be off a little bit. You're basing a decision on whether or not to impose a fine on a very anemic SEC that was not doing a good job of enforcing the law. So I guess my real question to you is, if something is substantive, if something is significant, if it is a lie, shouldn't the penalty reflect that? And I'm not accepting the fact that somehow, because there was another fine issued before, that somehow should be a measurement when we know that the SEC wasn't doing its job. And finally, your argument that somehow you've got to balance what happens to the shareholders, if that's the deliberative process you're going to use, then the appropriate fine is never going to be imposed on companies that do, in fact, lie.
Well, as to your latter point, the harm to shareholders who may have been victimized by the wrongful conduct is only one factor amongst 8 or 9 that we take into account, one of which is the importance of the deterrence impact of the penalty. So I don't want to mislead you to suggest that we only look at whether or not there is harm to shareholders. We look at a variety of factors, including, most importantly, the deterrent effect of the fine.
Well, let me ask you this. Based on what the judge has said in this case, if you were to start over again, what would be the fine that you would believe would be appropriate for a proxy statement that had a bald-faced lie in it that shareholders relied on, or prospective shareholders relied on, in terms of purchasing the stock?
Well, actually, Congressman, I think actually the judge's concern, in his opinion, had to do more with whether or not the fine was too high, because he felt that it was falling, the burden was falling on shareholders who had been victimized by the wrongful conduct, not that it was too low. But reasonable minds can have different opinions on that issue. My belief is that the settlement that we struck was fair and appropriate.
So in terms of further negotiations, will there be another settlement offered up to the judge, or will this go to trial?
Matters scheduled for trial in early March, and the case is proceeding.
So there will not be any further settlement on this case?
Well, I couldn't predict the future as to whether or not the case will settle or not. As of now, the case is proceeding in the discovery phase, and it's scheduled for a March trial.
Well, I just want to understand that, could you then go back and negotiate a smaller, is what you're saying that the judge wants a smaller fine imposed? I find that absolutely unbelievable.
No, my only point was in the judge's opinion, he indicated that he was concerned about the penalty because he thought that it was being imposed on shareholders who were victimized by the wrongful conduct.
His opinion was not based on the fact that the fine was too low.
I don't remember whether or not he used exactly those terms, but his point was more that the fine was, sorry to repeat myself, but the fine was falling on the shareholders who were victimized by the wrongful conduct.
Well, or maybe his focus was that the fine should be imposed on the executives who misled the shareholders and maybe have it taken out of their salaries.
He did question why no individuals were charged. You're absolutely right, but he didn't suggest that the fine should be paid out of the pockets of individual or particular corporate executives.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. Now yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Ohio, ranking member on the subcommittee.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kazami, were you here for Ms. Baer's testimony and questioning earlier this morning?
Yes, I was.
And so you're aware of what she said and confirming what Mr. Lewis had told this committee about the meeting took place in October, 10 days after TARP had passed, where the 9 biggest financial institutions were brought to this town, including Bank of America, told they were now going to have their bank partially nationalized. They were going to have to accept TARP money. They had to sign a form. You heard all that testimony that she gave?
Yes.
And I guess my point is, or my question is, well, let me go back to this. And her testimony to this committee a few hours ago was that that action by the Fed, by Mr. Paulson, by Mr. Treasury Secretary Paulson and Federal Reserve Chairman Bernanke, quote, took her breath away when she saw, what took place at that meeting. So now as we move forward, it seems to me that, I guess your testimony, and I apologize for not being here, was another commitment. You talked about shareholders being misled. But it seems to me that this unbelievable involvement by the government, the email we have that's been part of the record in earlier hearings from Mr. Lacker, Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, where he talked about the fact they didn't want a disclosable event, so Mr. Paulson, Mr. Bernanke were not willing to put anything in writing about the willingness to help Bank of America with additional TARP dollars. It seems to me that someone look at this could say, Bank of America, what was the government's culpability here in running the show and pushing for this deal, particularly Mr. Paulson and Mr. Bernanke? I assume you at the SEC are looking at, that has to, in my mind, factor into this whole picture, this whole scenario that we've been looking at now for several months. And any response you would have to all that?
Well, Congressman, as we look at these events, we look at the roles of all the participants that are relevant and all of the facts. So I guess that would be my response.
So, yes or no, would potential arguments by Bank of America that the bank and its management were not necessarily completely liable because they were acting at the government's directions?
Well, the events that you're talking about, I believe, occurred after the proxy, and so after the merger had been approved. And so the question is whether or not, with respect to the TARP money, whether or not that understanding had become a material contract that had to be disclosed under the 8K rules and regulations.
Okay.
And so that is certainly an issue.
Does the whole, when did you guys first become aware of what was taking place here, the mounting losses at Merrill Lynch? When did you first become aware of that?
Unfortunately, I wasn't there until March, so I can't, I don't know the answer to that question.
Why do you think, when we have the email saying we don't want a disclosable event, why do you think there was a reluctance by the Federal Reserve to not have information be made known to the SEC?
I probably wouldn't be appropriate for me to speculate about that.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.
Thank you very much. I now yield to the gentlewoman from California, Congresswoman Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for this follow-up hearing. We've had several in the past, and after listening to the testimony from the Bank of America CEO Kenneth Lewis, the Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke, and former Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson, and officials at the Bank of America, there's still strong questions, and I know the intent of this committee through its chair is to get some of these questions answered so we will know really what took place. And we want to hear from you the role of the government and what was played in the negotiations, the quality of the Bank of America's due diligence process, and the motivation behind B of A's attempt to claim a material adverse change, or the MAC, and the adequacy of their disclosure to shareholders. Can you package all that in and clarify it for us? I think this is what, the third or the fourth hearing, Mr. Chairman?
Fifth.
Fifth. Okay. Let us hear how you would describe the roles that each one of these sectors played.
Well, Congressman, as involving some or all of matters that are currently under investigation, I have to be careful about my comments. With respect to the proxy that was sent out in connection with the merger, as we have charged in our complaint, we don't believe that we believe that the disclosure was misleading, because Bank of America did not disclose that they already had an agreement to pay bonuses when they told shareholders that Merrill Lynch would not be paying such bonuses without their consent, but in fact the consent had already been given. That is the case that we charged, and that is the case that is proceeding.
Let me stop you, and I want to query these bonuses. Ethically, I don't see how the bonuses could even be in contention when we are bailing out too big to fail institutions with taxpayers' monies to try to capitalize these big institutions so they could save people's homes, et cetera, et cetera. Is a bonus appropriate under the crisis conditions that exist? I just want you to talk about bonuses and then continue.
Well, Congressman, again, from an enforcement perspective, my focus is on what the law requires and whether or not the law has been violated.
Well, do bonuses fall under that provision in the law?
Generally not,
Okay.
except in this situation where they made a representation about what they were going to do about bonuses, and that representation, in our view,
But that
was
was
false.
prior to the collapse, wasn't it?
That was
When people signed their contracts, as I understand, they had bonuses attached in there, but the whole condition has changed now. Would they have to comply with the provisions that were in the original agreement?
Well, that's correct. The bonuses that were paid in this case were paid, frankly, shortly after the merger was approved. That's correct.
Would you continue on, please?
Well, there's probably not much more. I don't mean to disappoint you, but there's probably not more I would say on that topic. Whether or not bonuses are appropriate and the appropriate level, and the balancing between incentivizing talent and retaining talent versus what's an appropriate compensation is probably something that's above my pay grade.
I've heard that say to retain talent. That really goes beyond, I feel it's so absurd. I don't think at this point that you couldn't find 1,000, or you could find 1,000 people out there with tremendous talent. If that talent goes, there are people lined up. I mean, we are really being hit hard. And I'm talking about my district now, which is Los Angeles, Culver City, Hollywood. And people have lost their jobs in droves, lost their investments. Talent is available, believe me. And so it's a phony excuse. But in putting this all together, I feel there were tremendous failures on all sides. Would you agree to that?
I think there's a lot of blame to go around.
Yeah, and my colleague, Ms. Spears, said it was just downright lies that were given, and possibly it was done so that government could support B of A and give them more support in the merger. So I'm just really thoroughly disappointed that the people who were in place, particularly at the SEC, looked the other way. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. The gentlewoman's time has expired. I now yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Missouri, Congressman Clay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Kuzami, for being here. Let me, just a couple of questions. At what point should action have been taken to curb some of the activities of the big banks' involvement in the securities markets? There had to be some indication to the SEC that some investment houses were stretched too thin without the proper reserves to cover their risk in this market. Did red flags or alarms ever go off? What did you know, and when did you know it?
Well, Congressman, I didn't arrive at the SEC until March of this year, so that's probably not the right person to ask that question of.
How about the people that you work with now that have been there for years? Did red flags go off for them?
Well, there were certainly systemic risks and a bubble that had occurred in the housing market and elsewhere that resulted in the collapse and the excessive leverage and risk taking that we saw. It is, what the Commission saw at various points along the way. It's difficult for me to answer that question. We didn't have regulatory authority over certain areas, so it might be better if I have an opportunity to respond to you after today's hearing, so I can give you a more fulsome answer.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from your colleagues in writing just what alarms went off, or whether the relationship was too cozy with the big banks, that they never wanted to cite them for risky practices. Let me ask you in particular, why did Bank of America get only a slap on the hand when it was cited in 2006 for improperly marketing auction rate securities? Why were they allowed to continue these practices of using false and misleading information in selling these instruments? In hindsight, do you think that B of A was given too much leeway?
Congressman, I would have to familiarize myself with that case. I'm aware generally of the auction rate securities matters, but as I sit here, not with the particulars of whatever action may have been brought in 2006. I'd be happy to respond.
Would you respond to us and
Certainly.
to the committee in writing on that issue also?
Certainly.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions. I yield back.
Thank you very much. Before we close out, let me just say, Mr. Kazami, I'm troubled by the question that the gentleman from Maryland raised, Mr. Cummings. First, in terms of, it seemed to me that individual executives, the ones who sign off on the proxy filings, should be the ones that are responsible. So therefore, why wouldn't they be the ones that you go after? You find them, and they from the personal standpoint, because like you said, taking our money and then paying the fine, and I'm not sure that we get to where we need to go with that. And the other thing, that the general feeling is, in terms of the community at large, they feel that the reason the judge sent it back to you is that you were not aggressive enough, that you did not pursue it in the fashion that he felt that it should have been. And of course, that's the general feeling among people, if they say in the street as to what's going on. Now, I don't know whether, that's the case or not, but I do believe that you really need to look at that in terms of, because when I listen to the fact that they're paying with our money, that doesn't encourage, people to do what's right.
Well, a couple of responses, Congress. First, with respect to the payment of the fine, obviously, any entity that receives TARP funding or other money still has to pay that full amount back with interest. So whether or not a fine was paid with government money, which can tend to be fungible in an institution, but ultimately they had to pay back all the money that they got from the government with interest. I would just make that point. Second of all, you're right, the judge expressed concern about not charging individuals. We've shown a very aggressive posture of charging individuals, and if you look historically at our cases, the overwhelming number of cases result in charges against individuals and not corporations alone, and I just mentioned some earlier today. But the particular issue in the proxy area is that the proxy laws impose the obligation on the entity whose proxy is being solicited or on whose behalf it's being solicited, and those are the corporations. To charge individuals, you need a higher level of proof. You need to show what's called scienter, or either knowledge or reckless conduct, meaning a significant and substantial deviation from normal standards of care. And it is that difference in the legal standard that makes a difference in how we can proceed. There's a higher burden of proof with respect to the individuals, and our determination, based on the record we had, is that we did not have the basis to charge those individuals. Now, as we get into the discovery process, we may get additional information, and we'll take that into account in making our decision. But I don't want to leave the impression that we do not aggressively pursue individuals. We recognize the deterrent impact of charging individuals. As much as corporate penalties deter people, nothing substitutes for charging individuals, and we do that across the board in many, many, many of our cases.
Right. Yeah, because I'm happy to hear it, because the shareholders are really the ones who suffer in a case like this. Let me thank you very, very much for your testimony, and of course we really appreciate the fact that you come, that you're here, and that you shared with us. This is the end of many, many hearings that we've had on this, and of course we hope that we will now be able to move and to give the kind of confidence that people really need in order to turn the situation we now find ourselves in around. So I want to thank you again. This hearing is now adjourned.
Oh my God, this job is so much bigger than we thought.
Find your space on an all-new episode of For Rent, Monday at 10:30 on HGTV.
I'm Lindy. And I'm Joni. We've been best friends since we were 2. We've always been alike.
We even both have osteoporosis, but we're active, especially when we vacation. So when I heard about Reclass, the only once-a-year IV osteoporosis treatment, I called Joni.
My doctor said Reclass helps re-strengthen our bones to help make them resistant to fracture.
And Reclass is approved to help protect from fracture in more places: hips, spine, even other bones.
You should not take Reclass if you're on Zometa, have low blood calcium, kidney kidney problems, or you're pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or nursing. Take calcium and vitamin D daily. Tell your doctor if you develop severe muscle, bone, or joint pain, or if you have dental problems, as rarely jaw problems have been reported. The most common side effects include flu-like symptoms, fever, muscle or joint pain, headache, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
Nothing strengthens you like an old friendship.
But when it comes to our bones, we both look to Reclast.
You've got to ask your doctor. Or call 866-51-RECLAST.
Year-long protection for on-the-go women.
Jane, hey.
After 10 years of being divorced,
He cheated on you with her, and then he marries her.
Jake and Jane have moved on.
I'll see you guys at the party.
I'm bringing my architect.
As a date?
Yeah.
But things
I've never really known how to live without you.
are about to get complicated.
I'm having an affair.
Oh, God.
This Christmas,
That nerdy architect likes you.
from the writer-director of Something's Gotta Give,
Uh-oh. Why so tense, big fella?
it's complicated. This film is not yet rated.
You expect a lot from today's high-performance kitchen, but there's one thing you didn't expect: comfort. Gel Pro mats contain revolutionary gel comfort technology. To order your Gel Pro mat, visit gelpro.com or call 8775-GEL-MAT.
Thank you. I thought we had a $20 limit. We did.
Triumphant joy, just $19.99. Find what makes your holidays happy at a price that makes you home goods happy.
I want you. I'm gonna make you mine.
HGTV has what you want. New Year's Day. First, Australian import Jamie Dury knows what you want.
I'm constantly traveling, searching for inspiration.
Awesome. Awesome.
The Outdoor Room. Then, Antonio is back, taking unexpected spaces over the top.
I'm really stoked on the whole thing.
On the Antonio treatment. And get your first look at the HGTV Dream Home, New Year's Day. It all starts at 9/8 Central on HGTV.
So we've taken a lot of things into consideration, and either way you're going to get a basement apartment out of this, which is great. You guys are sitting on a gold mine downstairs, you really are, and you made a great choice in purchasing this house, but you need to start focusing your energy on getting some rental income in. Option number one is a larger renovation, the full-on facelift of the entire apartment. Option number two, it's more of a clean-up lipstick job, but we should still be able to get this place rented out.
Okay.
So what option are you going to pick?
Well,
Option one.
option one.
You guys are going full out.
We're going
We
full
gotta
out.
do it right. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
We want to improve it. We want to have a quality, nice suite where we can rent out to somebody.
Yeah.
Who's going to be a good tenant. It's going to be good to us.
All right, well, we're going to get this thing started, and we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it
Great.
rented out.
All right.
Great. Thank
All
you.
right,
Excellent.
good choice, guys. Samantha and Andrew have a legal basement apartment, but it would be a crime to let somebody live in these conditions. This apartment has some really great features. I love the separate entrance, the windows are nice and big, and the floor plan is excellent. But everything else in here has to go. I want to strip back the wallpaper and lay nice new floors. All the finishes will tie the whole place together really well. I can't even deal with this kitchen. My plan is to put in an intelligent galley kitchen here and use this wasted crawl space for a built-in fridge. It's time to show these new landlords how to make real money. Samantha and Andrew have spent the last of their savings to do this renovation. But once we finish decontaminating the place, they'll make that money back over the next year. This is like a horror movie. This vanity's gotta go too. Turn the water off on that thing too, just in case. Oh, Jesus. Somebody doesn't know how to flush. Oh, oh please don't spill. Yeah, that's bad news. Oh, great. We knew there was some mold. I didn't realize how far it was extending into the walls and into the rock salt. I think the damage basically starts here and goes to about the toilet. The carpets are ruined, the underpad is moldy, the baseboards were all moldy, the drywall's moldy, and the water's still coming up. So the plumber's coming, he's gonna snake the line, he's gonna send a camera down the line, make sure we have no roots. I'm gonna do a perimeter check and make sure there's nothing shooting water right down the foundation. Let's take a look under here. Holy crap, there's an old window boarded up here. We gotta insulate this properly. It's wet, but not wet enough. I think the water's coming in from the drain. How bad is it? A little bit. That's a lot of mold.
Oh my God, it's totally rotting.
It's all mold. Both sides were covered in mold.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, everything else, the walls are still there. Go in the bathroom, everything's completely torn apart.
The shower was leaking so bad on this side, it actually eroded the metal beams completely. Ideally, this bathroom would have Humitech drywall, the green stuff. It's waterproof, mold-proof.
Right.
And then again, even in the lower parts, I'd like to do like the Duroc, the concrete board in there.
Okay.
Just because that stuff doesn't mold, right?
Okay.
Come have a look at the monitors.
This is a camera angle going down your drain.
This is your main drain system leaving your house. The drain is half full. There's some root intrusion there, nothing too serious. Keep on going. From what I'm seeing now coming through here is there's a tree root intrusion right through the drain system. There's a Y connection. Continue. Look, oh, here we go right here. Your tree roots have actually broken into your clay tile.
Shut up.
Seriously, that's what's happening, is the tree roots have grown in and they're feeding off of it.
With all these mature trees out on the front lawn, it's not uncommon that the roots penetrate the old clay pipes like they did here on Sam and Andrew's house.
And is this going to happen again? Is this going to be like a reoccurring problem? Like,
Yes, definitely.
really?
Yeah, there's only
so
a
how do
couple.
you prevent it?
You actually have to excavate and rechange the drain and make a proper connection.
My stomach just sank, and I just thought, oh my God, this job is so much bigger than we thought.
So what originally looked like it might be a small issue is actually pretty large, and we're looking at about $10,000 to replace from the front of your house where it goes out all the way to the back of the house where the problem starts.
It's not looking good. I mean, I don't know where we're going to come up with 10 grand, and you know they have to rip through the entire basement floor, which is pretty major work. Are we still going to be good for the first of the month?
Right now, we're looking at some definite delays.
Where are we going to come up with 10 grand?
I don't know.
Tubs going in.
The old rough-in wasn't the same size for the new tub.
Plumbing killed us. That hole in the floor put us back 2-3 days. So that's it. It's official. We're not making it.
Antonio is coming in March to HGTV. But New Year's Day, we're giving you a sneak peek.
I'll give you the Antonio treatment.
Watch the Antonio treatment. Special preview New Year's Day after the Rose Parade on HGTV.
It's 30 days of holidays on HGTV, and hgtv.com/holidays is your online home to get in the spirit. Festive ideas are a snap with our Deck the Halls feature. And check out our gift guide. It's all at hgtv.com/holidays.
Last summer, he walked out. And I begged and pleaded and said I would do anything I could, or I would, to keep our family together, but to no avail. I don't return phone calls. I don't volunteer information. I don't reach out to anybody.
For those lost in depression, the way out can begin right now. Take the Depression Health Check only at WebMD.com.
Tired of tough scrubbing? You need new Kaboom Foamtastic with OxyClean Stain Fighters. Its powerful foaming action sprays on blue, and when the foam turns white, you're ready to wipe. No hard scrubbing and no obnoxious fumes. OxyClean Stain Fighting Bubbles power through soap scum, hard water, calcium, lime, and rust stains. Use it on tile, tubs, showers, and sinks. Sprays on blue, turns white when it's clean. No other foaming cleaner does that. New Kaboom Foamtastic. You'll see the clean.
Trying to be good to your heart? So is Campbell's Healthy Request Soup. Low in fat and cholesterol, heart-healthy levels of sodium, and taste you'll love.
We're all kind of excited about it.
Campbell's Healthy Request.
My romance.
Fall in love with Ralph Lauren romance.
Doesn't need a thing but you.
Ralph Lauren romance. This holiday at Macy's.
Get the taste of a home-cooked meal at work with new Marie Callender's Homestyle Creations. A delicious meal made fresh from your desk. Just cook them, strain them, mix them. Marie Callender's Homestyle Creations. A little touch of home for lunch. Find them in the super pasta aisle.
Sunday, Jenny McCarthy returns in Santa Baby, Christmas Baby.
You're going on strike at Christmas?
At the North Pole, everything is going south.
You have your list of demands?
We want cookies with sprinkles on top and bottom.
A new ABC Family original movie. Santa Baby, Christmas Maybe. Premieres Sunday at 8, 7 Central. Part of 25 Days of Christmas, only on ABC Family.
Look, oh, here we go right here. Your tree roots have actually broken into your clay tile.
Shut up.
Seriously.
We're looking at about $10,000 to replace all of the sewer lines.
Does the whole thing have to be replaced?
If you don't do it, you're gonna have the drains backing up in your basement again. Then really everything you've done goes to waste.
There's some root intrusion there.
I mean, we're not really okay with spending $10,000 because it's $10,000 we hadn't planned for, and the whole point of this is that we don't really have a ton of money.
We're gonna have to either get a loan or, borrow some money from somewhere.
Now that Samantha and Andrew have had to take out a loan to pay for the plumbing, we really got to make it for the first of the month. Well, the plumbing out here is a serious delay. At least the washroom's looking like it's making some progress. You've insulated, good, new framing.
As soon as I'm done this, we throw the tub in.
Beautiful. Drywall it tonight, mud it.
I hope so.
Perfect. At least the bathroom's on track. Thanks, Camille.
Thanks, buddy.
So there was a lot of cosmetic work to do in this basement. The whole thing was covered in wallpaper. We had to remove wallpaper from every wall. Now we have to do a skim coat to patch up all the imperfections and all the bumps and nicks. And then we're gonna sand that down, prime all the walls, and then paint all the walls. Because we're dealing with a basement apartment, lighting is really important. You don't want to feel like you're in a basement, you want to feel like you're in a big, spacious place. So we always have to be very careful with how we light it. This is what we have going on in the ceiling. I mean, this is a relatively finished basement. Walls and ceilings are all finished. So I'm hoping to run track lighting without destroying the whole ceiling.
This is a pancake box, yeah. So this just goes straight there. And with the drywall, you got a 5/8 here, so it's not going to be a problem.
Tub's going in.
The old rough-in wasn't the same size for the new tub.
Well, you have no room left now. So you're gonna have to break it down, get under this T, put a new one, and redo the whole rough-in. Now we gotta change the plumbing to fit the new tub. Just one problem after another.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're already starting to fill this in. This is where the problem started, was with the drain there. And you can see they took the kitchen drain, brought it all the way down, put a clean out before it goes in the ground, and they tied it in 3 feet past the trap.
Yeah.
So no more flooding in this room. In fact, this room will be back to normal very shortly.
Awesome.
Great.
Oh, my God.
Excellent.
What an improvement.
My only concern at this point is whether we're going to make it for the first of the month to be able to rent it out.
The cabinets are together. We got no floors. When are the floors going down?
Floors going down today. 3 days later.
Floors are supposed to be down already. Cabinets are supposed to go in today.
Plumbing killed us. That hole in the floor put us back 2-3 days.
Cupboards are supposed to be finished today. We haven't even started floors yet. Yeah, there's no way we're done for the first. All right, so that's it. It's official. We're not making it. There's no way. I got to tell them we're not going to make it.
Oh my God!
My God!
Landlords. Look at you, landlords.
Look at that.
We're moving up. Thank you. It's amazing.
Get ready, America, for HGTV's bold new import from Down Under, Jamie Dury.
I think it's going to be a really interesting journey.
The Outdoor Room with Jamie Dury. Series premiere New Year's Day at 10 p.m. after the HGTV Dream Home Special.
Only a Ghirardelli Squares chocolate has all the ingredients for the most intense chocolate experience. A heavenly aroma, a silky smooth texture, and rich flavor that you'll only get from our intense, slow melting chocolate. Take time to enjoy your Ghirardelli Square chocolate slowly, very slowly. Ghirardelli, moments of timeless pleasure.
is a treasure. Trésor Lancôme. Your Trésor Moments gift set. Now at Dillard's.
When fragrance is your centerpiece,
Wow.
the holidays come alive. The limited edition holiday collection by Glade.
SC Johnson, a family company.
Just a few hours, all those Welch's Concord grapes will be juice. How Welch's squeezes their grapes is important too. They use the pulp, the seeds, the skin, everything to make 100% grape juice loaded with antioxidant power. 100% grape.
It's time to dream.
If you make a wish on the evening star, it's sure to come true.
Time to laugh.
I want to play jazz with the big boys.
Time for the kind of magic only Disney can bring to life.
Go to bed.
This holiday season,
My daddy never lost sight of what was really important, and neither will I.
it's time to believe.
You can do anything you set your mind to.
Disney's The Princess and the Frog, rated G, now playing.
Looking to stretch your food dollars? Instead of buying jarred pasta sauce, make a primo homemade sauce with Del Monte canned tomatoes. And enjoy hearty savings any way you dice it.
When it comes to fighting flu viruses like 2009 H1N1, there are several steps you can take. Wash your hands and get your flu shot. Regularly disinfect surfaces to reduce the spread of germs. And perhaps the most important step of all, talk to your friends about doing the same. Instead of spreading flu viruses like 2009 H1N1, let's help spread protection.
Cabinets are supposed to go in today. We haven't even started floors yet. There's no way. I got to tell them we're not going to make it for the first. Just I wanted to give you a heads up and see kind of your thoughts at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it had to get done, right?
There is an upside to all this. I mean, there are people who move in the middle of the month, and now they won't be so rushed to find someone right away. It'll give them more time to scan the applicants and find the right person for the apartment. A lot of homeowners really underestimate the value of curb appeal. This is a disaster. This bush, easy. Just give it a trim back, all right? This, come on. Yeah, I know. If you post this house the way it is, even if the basement's amazing, you can sit on this porch and you can watch your appointments pull up, slow down, and keep driving away. I'll bet you half of them won't even come in. They are judging this before they even get out of the car. Guaranteed. It's a lot to do. Okay, it's gonna be a long night. Let's check it out.
Oh my God!
This is not the same place.
It's like a real space.
This is all laminate flooring. This is the heavy-duty Wilson Art. It's got a triple laminated layer, so it's durable, right?
Oh my
It's the
God.
commercial-grade stuff. This is a real kitchen, not what was here before.
Nice.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
I use solid surface countertops because they're durable, they look great, they last, and they're not porous, right?
Love the sink and the hardware on it. It looks so good. Looks so good.
The fridge was over here when we showed up.
Yeah.
But there was this unused cavity back here.
Yeah.
So we got a fridge that fits. We finished it off all the way around and insulated it. It opens it up so much more here and makes it feel like a big apartment. No flood, no mold.
The water.
The best part about this bedroom is just the fact that it exists.
Yeah.
Because most places in the neighborhood are bachelor apartments.
Oh.
So a big step up for you guys is that you're offering a one-bedroom.
It looks awesome. It looks awesome. Oh my God, look at it! It looks so much better.
We kept the 4-piece washroom, right? Which is such a big plus for this apartment.
Yeah.
Even though it's not even 5 feet in here, we did get a 4.5-foot tub. All new fixtures. We went with the really bold features, right? Bold-looking
Love
fixtures.
it. I love the fixtures.
The tenant's going to come in, they're going to say, wow, it looks great, but what's great for you guys is you know that behind here, you have all new framed walls, you've got the vapor barrier, you've got the proper insulation, and the whole place has been built properly now.
Scott, everyone just did an incredible job. It exceeded our expectations.
We don't have to worry about every month just, you know, scrounging together enough money to be able to pay it.
It's just a huge burden lifted off of us.
I had an appraiser come through today, and he estimated that your house is worth about $420,000.
Really?
Get out! Yay!
Which is like $60,000 of increased value since from what you bought it for. And there's room for improvement. If you address the curb appeal situation and you finish your work upstairs, you can increase that even more. He said I would advertise this at $900.
Imagine.
I know, originally I said $800, he said $900, and I actually did some research in the area. So I'm saying start at $1,000.
To start?
To start. People are looking for this. You are targeting a whole different class of tenant. At this point, I'm going to hand over the keys to you, landlords. Look at you, landlords.
Look at that.
We're moving up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you. It's amazing.
The only thing left to do is to rent it out and start pulling in all that cash.
Yeah.
You guys ready to do that?
We're ready.
All right.
We're ready.
I'm going to tell you how to do it. First of all, you got to come down with a camera and take a picture of it while I have it all staged. Because this is going to sell it. People are going to be able to see themselves in this space.
It's not a great mystery why this house hasn't sold.
11 months of not selling. Let's help you fix it.
We're pulling out all... When Laura Woods placed her home on the market, she priced it low for a quick sale. Almost a year later, it hasn't moved an inch. Now, in a last-ditch attempt to get this hard-to-sell home sold, Laura and her real estate agent, Sharon Crunk, are turning to us for help. So, Laura, how long has this been home?
It's been home for 4 years.
4 happy years?
4 very happy years. Listed my house 11 months ago so my daughters and I could move to Montana to be closer to my family. And for some reason, my house just won't sell.
You two are very good friends, so you can
We're
tell
friends.
me truthfully what's she like as a realtor.
Oh, she's a very good realtor. Thanks, Lori.
All right, let's get to the bottom of things. Sharon, why hasn't this sold? Tell me some of the real hard facts.
Because there's so much inventory right now. It's a tract home in a gated community, and for the 11 months now that we've been on the market, the inventory has ranged from 12 to 14 homes and up to 22 homes at one time. So even though we've been the lowest priced all along, people are picking the prettier houses.
I listed my house for $199,000, which is a lot lower compared to the other ones that are the 2-bedroom, just like mine. They're going for $200,000, $230,000, and they're selling in about 4 months, and not one of them has been on the market as long as mine.
What kind of upgrades overall, Laura, have you done to the place to try and make it sell?
We put new carpet and new tile in, and we painted the walls before we put it on the market.
Wow, wow, wow. This has got to be a selling point. Come on in.
This is a huge bathroom. You also have the separate shower, which is always a plus. You have double sinks. I mean, what more could you ask? You have a closet in here.
How frustrated have you been? Tell me about that.
Well, it's a little frustrating because I was planning on being gone last summer. I hate keeping my house clean. It's really difficult with 2 small children. You never know when somebody's going to come knocking at your door. It's like living in limbo. It doesn't even feel like it's my house anymore.
Overall, what do you think is the problem?
We're not a highly decorated home. We need a little TLC.
TLC, tender Lisa care.
There we go.
Oh, we have lots of that, most definitely.
But first, it's a little THC from Donna Freeman. That stands for Totally Honest Criticism.
I think this looks delightful from the outside. Look at this beautiful tree. The only little comment I would make is perhaps roll the hose up and make it look nice and neat.
Oh, that wasn't too bad.
There you go. I can't emphasize enough how important curb appeal is. Think about it. Every driver that goes by your home is a potential buyer. Use it. Oh, dear.
Dear.
Oh, dear. This has been on the market?
11 months.
Is someone wondering why?
Oh, here we go.
There is a fireplace here. It disappears into the white walls. That fireplace is the most important feature in Laura's living room. Flaunt it if you have it. That fireplace should pop. The sofa is dark and honestly, it's sort of depressing.
That was particularly brutal.
It's not a great mystery why this house hasn't sold.
Right. May I please press you to see more? I know you secretly do want to, but let's have a look.
Oh my goodness.
Now, to many people, this would be a spacious eating area.
You are right. However, we've got nice high ceilings here, but with sterile white walls and white mini blinds.
So overall, big picture.
People are gonna buy the house next door. That's it.
I'm not sure I want to hear what else she has to say.
Oh, wait a second. I thought we were doing the master bedroom next.
Yes, this is the master bedroom.
Yes, it is. They've got 3 pieces of furniture other than the bed. None of it matches.
They're not going to buy the furniture.
Yes, the buyers are not buying the furniture, but it makes it impossible for the buyers to place their own furniture in this space because it's so awkward and they spend their time trying to figure out the space. Doesn't work here.
Have you ever climbed into an oversized tub?
I don't think I want her to go in my tub.
Okay, the master bathroom.
I actually believe you. It's got a lot going for it. But there's something about carpeting in a bathroom that just kind of doesn't feel clean. And dare I mention the curtains? Oh, no. I really won't. I'm sorry, but those curtains, they're white, they're dated, and they frame a frosted window. They just don't make any sense. This is gold, and it's kind of mixed-matchy with the trim everywhere else. And the countertops are a bit stained, shall I say, dated.
Maybe she'll find some positive things in that bathroom.
Not at this rate, she won't.
The tub is beautiful. The only comment I have about this great area here is perhaps just punching up the area around the tub a little bit to really make it pop. I think that this bathroom is, I would call it a hidden gem in this home.
Good news, which is something, believe me, we need after 11 months. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
That was hard to hear.
Yeah, but it's going to make us more money.
So after 11 months, I'm willing to do anything.
Coming up, designer Lisa Laporta thinks she has a handle on this hard-to-sell house.
These are the little changes that can make all the difference in you selling this time.
But everyone else has their doubts.
If it's this hard just to get the countertop off, just imagine the rest of the job.
Are you sure that's not a little too dark?
Now, don't lose faith in me now.
Stay tuned.
Happy holidays.
Some pharmacists only dispense prescriptions. Your Walgreens pharmacist also dispenses wisdom to help you make the right healthcare decisions. Like understanding Medicare Part D, we'll walk you through a free plan comparison report to guide you to the most cost-effective and comprehensive plan, whether you're new to Medicare Part D or you've been covered for a while. So stop in and stay well. Walgreens, there's a way to stay well.
Arm & Hammer Spin Brush with a unique dual-action head removes up to 70% more plaque in hard-to-reach places. So this holiday, give them something to really smile about. Don't just brush, spin brush.
Guys, remember, we're a solar system. Mars is down, and it's only 10 a.m. Who hasn't had their Jimmy Dean breakfast this morning? Now let's orbit.
I feel awesome.
You're all awesome.
Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches. Fight the morning fade. Jimmy Dean.
shine on.
What do all of these pets have in common? They all take Cosequin, the #1 veterinarian recommended joint health supplement brand, used to improve mobility and comfort in pets. So if your pets are showing signs of slowing down, it may be their joints. Try Cosequin. Whether it's your dog or cat, help keep their joints lasting longer with Cosequin. Buy Cosequin today and get the best for your pet. The trusted brand everyone else compares to.
I want you, I'm gonna make you mine.
HGTV has what you want. New Year's Day. First, Australian import Jamie Dury knows what you want.
I'm constantly traveling, searching for inspiration.
Awesome, awesome.
The Outdoor Room. Then, Antonio is back, taking unexpected spaces over the top.
I'm really stoked on the whole thing.
On the Antonio treatment. And get your first look at the HGTV Dream Home, New Year's Day. It all starts at 9/8 Central on HGTV.
Laura Woods is ready to take on the many homes in her gated community that are selling faster and for more money than hers. The house needs some major spit and polish to compete with the others and end an 11-month standstill. Armed with $2,000 and a killer design strategy, Lisa Laporta is joining the cause.
Now this living room could be so much more dramatic. This fireplace could be a really great focal point for the room, and it's really bland, and we need to fix that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna demo this tile and put in a rich stone, something that adds color and texture and drama.
Fabulous.
Good to me. Now let's talk about this dining room because we have some issues here. We need to make it dramatic, so a new chandelier, a new dining set, new window treatments, and a paint color that will flow right in from the living room. These are the little changes that can make all the difference in you selling this time and maybe even getting more money than you expected. Okay, I think the big comment from Donna and Clive was that this doesn't feel like a master bedroom. It does have the great high ceiling, but it doesn't have a lot of space on its footprint. So we need to eliminate these extra pieces of furniture, okay? I want this to go.
Where am I gonna put my clothes?
It's a good question. Now, when you're selling, you have to sort of adjust your lifestyle. So you may need to clean out the closet. I want to take off that headboard completely because it's a little dated and has some damage. Now, come on in here. We need to make many changes in this room because master bathrooms hold a lot of value. And this one right now could be one of the reasons that the house isn't sold. Bathrooms are critical, and an old bathroom will send a potential buyer fleeing. Now, bathrooms are usually small spaces, so it's okay to use expensive materials because you don't need a lot. And slate in this bathroom is going to make all the difference. You'll have new mirrors, new light fixtures. It's going to feel like a new bathroom. So I'll see you guys at the first work day.
Okay, sounds great.
Good.
By the time Lisa finished her tour, I was a little freaked out. Well, no, I was a lot freaked out. It sounded like a whole lot of work, and I barely know how to paint. I was really anxious about the work days.
Okay, off we go. This is very exciting. The start of workday 1 at Laura Woods' house. And time for our team to start turning this hard-to-sell home into a real estate winner.
We're starting in the bathroom because it needs it, Sharon. Bad. We're gonna take these closet doors outside so we can refinish the trim out there while we work on the tile in here.
Next, the mirrors have to go.
It is time for us to give these closet doors a new look because they're the brass, as you know. We need to make them match everything else in the bathroom.
You know, I never really noticed before that it didn't match.
Well, it doesn't, and we're gonna fix that.
While Lisa and Laura paint the trim of the closet doors, Brooks and Steve continue the bathroom demo.
What do you think, we should just shadow the whole thing? I think maybe. I don't think that we need to keep these.
Those countertops are history. And for just a few dollars more, we can replace them with the same slate we're using on the tub and floor. And it's gonna be awesome.
All right, I'm gonna start cutting the carpet over here. You wanna get that door, oh, you are getting the doorway cut, all right? We're on the ball. We got a clean floor.
Nothing distracts house hunters more than a seller's personal effects. After 11 months on the market, I could see how stuff creeped back out, but it all needs to get packed up.
Packing up the living room actually gave me a little bit of hope. It made me feel like I might actually get to move one day.
Okay, ladies, it's time to start painting this room. This is called a sail in a can. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Investing in a can of paint or two is the cheapest thing you can do when you're selling. Color is an easy way to attract house hunters. I love this color. I'm pleased now. I know you've been prepping the bathroom all morning, but it's time to start putting our tile on the countertops.
Right.
I understand you guys have different opinions about the right way to do it.
Well, Brooks is more of a traditional kind of guy. He's going to be using this wet towel saw, and I'm going to do a little exploratory method here with my jigsaw.
Interesting. Do I see you guys getting a little competitive right now?
No.
All right, well, I'll be timing you. Gentlemen, you may start your power tools. FYI, Steve,
Yes.
Brooks is using your jigsaw.
No, he's not. It does it. I'm cheating too.
You both cheated because Brooks, you started with the wet saw and used the jigsaw.
Yeah, cheater.
What? And you?
Steve, you cheated and used the wet saw, although you didn't admit it, so you lose points for that. But I think the lesson to be learned is you both work fast, and a combination of both tools is the best way to go.
I think so.
Okay, keep working. Our first work day is almost complete. How are you guys feeling?
We survived, Lori. We survived.
Yeah, you did survive.
We did survive.
And didn't you have a little fun? Sure. You should be having fun knowing you're going to sell this time.
Just have to wait and see.
We're going to think positive, Lori. Think positive.
Coming up, after 11 months, Laura is ready for a sale.
A little less talking, a little more work.
Oh.
Wow.
Turning into you, Lisa. And there's no time for mistakes.
It's not bad.
Not bad is not going to sell this house.
Stay tuned.
Antonio is coming in March to HGTV. But New Year's Day, we're giving you a sneak peek.
I'll give you the Antonio treatment.
See him take unexpected spaces.
Got the whole place blasted with paint. Don't screw this up.
And rock them out.
That's all I need, baby. I've never not delivered a job.
Antonio style.
HGTV has never seen anything like this.
Meet the rebel of redesign. Watch the Antonio treatment. Special preview New Year's Day after the Rose Parade on HGTV.
My romance
Fall in love with Ralph Lauren Romance.
doesn't need a thing but you.
Ralph Lauren Romance. This holiday at Macy's.
What shape are your kids in? Campbell's Kids Soups add a unique natural sea salt for a healthy level of sodium and no artificial flavors. They're a healthy lunch choice you can both feel great about.
So many, many reasons it's so good.
Sometimes the holidays can feel a lot more like work than a holiday. But with the perfect gift from 1-800-Flowers.com, you can be sure you're sending them that warm, fuzzy holiday feeling.
Get the Holiday Light centerpiece or choose one of our 30 gifts under $30 from our holiday collection. It's easy to give that warm, fuzzy holiday feeling when you come to 1-800-Flowers.com.
Oh my gosh, she's home.
Hey, Mom.
Hi.
Find some new hiding places because GameStop has 2,500 game gifts under $20.
Joy to the players.
Medicare. It doesn't cover everything. And what it doesn't cover can cost you some money. That's why you should consider an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. It can help cover some of what Medicare doesn't, so you could save up to thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket expenses. Call now for this free information kit and Medicare guide. If you're turning 65 or you're already on Medicare, you should know about this card. It's the only one of its kind that carries the AARP name. See if it's right for you. You choose your doctor. You choose your hospital. There are no networks and no referrals needed. Help protect yourself from some of what Medicare doesn't cover. Save up to thousands of dollars on potential out-of-pocket expenses with an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Call now for your free information kit and Medicare guide, and find out how you could start saving.
We need to get started right away, first off on this fireplace.
Wow. Ooh. Yes. Woohoo!
Oh,
we got 2 in 1. Did it come? We did it!
School is in session.
Tile school.
Tile school, we're gonna learn how to make a cut with a wet tile saw.
All right, so the challenge of not cutting a straight line. How do you do this bend?
That's a good question.
I want to feel like I could do this myself.
We're gonna use actually 2 saws maybe. I'm thinking that would be the right application here. So I'm gonna cut it with the wet tile saw as much as I can, and then I'm gonna come back with a jigsaw and a tile blade and get that little extra corner.
I think you're making these names up. Let's go. Well, Laura is a single mum, doesn't have a lot of money, so we really wanted to help her out. And I think we all truly felt the pressure to get her house sold, and then she can get back with her family in Montana.
Well done.
We're going to transform your fireplace and make it a really dramatic focal point. Okay, we are using mastic instead of normal tile thin set because it's a vertical surface, and we don't want our tiles to slide off the wall before it's dry, okay? So we're going to take our trowel and dip it in. And you see these grooves in our stone? We're gonna push on the mastic opposite the direction of the grooves, okay? That's all it takes. It's actually making me hungry for a nice sandwich.
Lisa, this is gonna take forever.
You know what? It won't take forever, because it can't. And a little bit of elbow grease in a couple of hours is a small price to pay for a lot of value in a quicker sale. We've got a focal point that could sell this house.
Now that we're done cutting this first section, why don't we go ahead and butter up the tiles so we can lay them down.
This is making me hungry. It's not right, is it? I'm getting kind of goopy. At this rate, I could be stuck to Laura Wood's bathtub permanently.
Laura's table was dated and too big for the area. By putting in a new stylish table that's round, it makes the space feel bigger and stylish. Your new dining table for your new, more elegant dining room.
Perfect. Perfect for writing offers on at the open house. How many would you like?
As many as they want to bring.
Do you trust Lisa Laporta in everything she does?
Well, I guess so.
This is going to add richness to the room and make your fireplace a focal point. And who trained me to say that?
Lisa.
Very good answer. Here we go.
Honestly, I didn't really know if I trusted Lisa or not. My house was in a total mess, just clutter everywhere, and I couldn't imagine how it was going to all come together.
Rich color, rich homeowner. Coming up.
We are going to end this 11-month no-sell streak today.
Can Lisa's changes sell the unsellable? Hello, welcome, welcome. Come on in. The open house is next on Design to Sell.
Okay, I want to see more.
Get ready, America, for HGTV's bold new import from Down Under, Jamie Dury.
I think it's going to be a really interesting journey.
The Outdoor Room with Jamie Dury. Series premiere New Year's Day at 10 p.m. after the HGTV Dream Home Special.
Love is a treasure. Trésor Lancôme. Your Trésor Moments gift set. Now at Dillard's.
Sunday, Jenny McCarthy returns in Santa Baby, Christmas Baby.
You're going on strike at Christmas?
At the North Pole, everything is going south.
You have your list of demands?
We want cookies with sprinkles on top and bottom.
A new ABC Family original movie. Santa Baby, Christmas Maybe. Premieres Sunday at 8, 7 Central. Part of 25 Days of Christmas, only on ABC Family.
When fragrance is your centerpiece,
Wow.
the holidays come alive. The limited edition holiday collection by Glade.
S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Just a few hours, all those Welch's Concord grapes will be juiced. How Welch's squeezes their grapes is important too. They use the pulp, the seeds, the skin, everything to make 100% grape juice loaded with antioxidant power. 100% grape.
Step in to an amazing selection of clothes, plus bags, accessories, and of course shoes, with fast free shipping and superior service.
Stop throwing your hard-earned cash in the trash. The all-new Food Saver vacuum packaging system with Smart Seal technology could save you $2,700 a year. Don't waste food with ordinary zipper bags and plastic wrap. The Food Saver system takes air out and keeps it out, eliminating freezer burn. You can buy in economical bulk sizes, knowing the extras stay fresh up to 5 times longer. With its new upright design and hands-free operation, it has never been easier to keep your food fresh. The Food Saver system, available wherever small kitchen appliances are sold.
Let's go, Princess. Get your back into it. A little exercise never hurt anybody.
Bissell asks, is your vacuum a good match for you?
Push it, push it. Ooh.
Some vacuums are powerful, but just too heavy.
Fight, fight, fight!
The new Bissell ProLite vacuum was designed with you in mind. It gives you 12 powerful amps of cleaning, all in an easy-to-handle, lightweight vacuum. So the Bissell ProLite is your perfect match. Bissell, we mean clean.
Well, after an 11-month losing streak, today's the day we find out if we can get potential buyers excited about Laura Wood's hard-to-sell home. Does it have what it takes to compete with the prettier homes in Laura's gated community? Let's take a look.
This place looks amazing.
It looks really good.
Don't you want to stay now?
No, I still want to go. You can come with me.
Okay. Oh, I get it.
Montana?
It was a living room that lacked drama. We've created a homey package.
A dramatic paint color, furniture, accessories, and window treatments transform this space from drab to fab.
The fireplace is such a dramatic focal point now, and before you barely noticed it.
All it took was a rich color and some tile to make it pop.
The room is so much cozier and gives a feeling of a home. And that's what it takes to get house hunters to make an offer. What about the dining room?
Wow, looks wonderful.
It wasn't that anything was so awful before. It just needed to be taken up a notch, and we've done that.
A stylish dining set and chandelier, along with paint and window treatments, make this a sophisticated space to enjoy a meal.
Let's go into the bedroom and bathroom. There is no question this is going to sell today. What do you think of the master bedroom?
I think it looks great.
I think it looks like a master bedroom. And it didn't look like a master bedroom before. It felt kind of like a hodgepodge.
Well, that hodgepodge is now an elegant retreat. Fresh paint and bedding work wonders, as do the new end tables and window treatments.
Didn't take a lot of money, but it makes a big difference and adds a lot of value. And it's a great lead-in to this amazing bathroom makeover. What a difference, huh?
Looks wonderful.
Didn't feel like a master bathroom before, and now it has elegance, and it feels huge, by the way.
Tile and paint completely transform the space. Lisa gave the vanities a complete facelift by updating the mirrors, sinks, and fixtures. Window treatments and accessories complete the picture. So how did Lisa divvy up the dough? Just over half went to the bathroom remodel and furniture. Lighting, bedding, and accessories took up another fourth. And window treatments and paint and supplies finished it off, leaving us without a cent to spare.
I was a little nervous, but now that it's all done, it just really all flows. It just all comes together.
I think the changes that we made are going to make the difference. And why you didn't sell for 11 months, it's going to sell today.
Well, it's time to find out if things will be different this time around.
Oh, wow. This is beautiful. Honey, look at this gorgeous fireplace. Oh, I love it.
I love the color on the walls, and right when I walked in, I felt like it was so warm and welcoming, the way they had the furniture laid out, and I think it's great. It's beautiful.
I've seen it before.
Oh, good. So you can.
Because I was looking at this house, and I walked into it, and I wasn't very pleased with it. But what you've done, it's beautiful. I want to see the master.
Oh, so you've got to
That's
see
what
the
I
rest of
wanna
the place.
see. Yes.
Wonderful.
What a difference.
There's no longer any question that this is the master bedroom.
Mama, I don't care if this is the master bedroom. It's my bedroom.
And the bathroom is sealing the deal.
This is awesome. What a difference compared to what it looked like before. This is amazing.
Very, very good.
Oh my gosh. This is gorgeous.
Wow.
Look at the tile.
Are you a family looking for a place to live?
Yes.
So whose bathroom would this be?
Mine.
Very good. Too late. Sorry. She just got the fancy room.
I could picture myself in a bubble bath with candles all around.
I can arrange that in about 2 hours. Now, Sharon, I'm seeing foot traffic galore, but also I'm hearing amazing comments. Has the tide turned? What's going on?
They like the house. They love the master bathroom.
So-
It's going to sell.
Say it again?
2 weeks. Let's give it 2 weeks and it's going to sell.
I think it's going to sell.
After the open house, we had several offers, and it looks like we're on our way to Montana.
No, we'll give it our own name.
Okay.
Fireplace Fabulousness.
There you go.
This will make a feature. Wow, that looks wonderful. Did you do that?
Some of it.
Dale and Marvella's house is a wreck.
Look at that thing. That's pathetic.
Our team will have to work harder than ever
This is going to take 2 weeks.
to transform this money pit
Got a big black hole up here.
into a money magnet.
This is an awesome color.
This is what the buyers are going to say too.
Next,
Brushes high.
Dale and Marvella live in a house that's been in their family for decades. But now they are ready to give up the family home and move further south. Well, does their classic home have what it takes to make it in a competitive housing market? Michael Johnson is on his way to find out.
Nice place.
Yeah, it is.
What year is this?
It was built in 1920. It's an old Irish neighborhood.
Marvella and Dale's 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, cottage-style house sits in the Chicago neighborhood of Beverly. Homes in the area sell for between $450,000 and $500,000.
You've lived here 7 years, and so you raised your children here somewhat.
Pretty much.
Yeah. With all this house and all these memories, why would you leave?
My mom passed on Christmas Day. It was just too much for me now.
Time to leave.
It's time to go.
I understand.
And she got a house in Memphis that's huge and waiting on us with a pool so she can get her swimming her tan on.
I have an idea.
What's that?
I'm gonna bring in Bethany. She will criticize the place in a constructive way so that you can get on to Memphis.
How constructive? I've seen her be real constructive.
Right to the edge of destructive.
Okay.
That's where she
I can
goes.
take that.
But that's what it takes to get you out of this place and on to Memphis. And that's what we want, right?
We can do that. We can do that. We can do that.
Keep saying that. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that.
Bring your girl along. We can do that.
Perfect
I tell
day.
ya, who says they bring gray skies?
Uh-oh. You ready for this?
Michael, I love the charm that is carried through immediately. The leaded glass windows and these panes, phenomenal. Another thing, buyers are going to love this wall of windows. Lets a lot of the light in, really is wonderful.
I like her. Forget what everybody else say.
It just started. It just started.
What? What?
Uh-oh.
Michael, dear,
Yes.
the charm is gone. Look at this place. What happened to my windows? That beautiful wall of windows that's hiding behind those granny drapes? Look at that thing. That's pathetic.
I knew that was going to be an issue. I knew that.
And this track lighting is the most uncharming thing I've ever seen. Truly.
That's
No.
not a modern touch?
No, it needs to come down. And what about about the condition of this paint. It's cracked, it's scuffed, it's beat up.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you gotta fix that.
Yeah, they have to fix that. Just start with some light bulbs, too, please.
I have a bright idea. Let's move on.
I'm with you.
I did like her. What happened?
I mean, that's what she's here for. You know she's gonna be brutal.
This is charming. I love this butler's pantry. Very, very nice.
Charm returns.
Yeah, not for long. What is that? That is nasty, crusty, peeling wallpaper. Oh,
We're in the process of taking that out.
I am afraid to walk any further.
Oh, come on, have courage. Go.
Aside from the fact that there's a refrigerator and a stove and a sink, this place is nothing but bad.
Oof. B-A-D.
Let's start with the cabinets, or lack thereof, because they're half falling apart. There's no fronts, there's no knobs, the cabinets are scuffed, they're beat up. The surface of this counter is horrible. The refrigerator is sticking out way too far, but oh, don't worry, I won't really notice that because I'm gonna get lost in that black hole above it.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, I don't have a lot more to say here other than this is just really bad.
Boom!
What are the keys?
We gotta stick with that charm, all that beautiful charm we saw when we first walked in the house. But you know, the further we came in, the deeper we fell into this hole. And this seller has gotta dig themselves out quickly.
We got our work cut out, baby. We got our work cut out.
Well, at least Dale and Marvella aren't alone. Here comes designer Monica Peterson.
Heard you watched the real estate tour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're smiling. That's good. Hard part's over.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna have some fun. Living room, perfect. Don't change a thing. Let's keep going. So we need to bring in some fun and some drama into the dining room. You've got a lot of doorways in here, so we need to do something that makes it feel cohesive. We're gonna paint some beautiful horizontal stripes around the room. What it's gonna do is it's gonna bring our buyer's eye all the way around the room. We're also gonna do a little bit of furniture finessing. This is a heavy dining room table. These are some heavy chairs. I'm bringing in a pine table. Pine is a wonderful wood when you're going for the cottage style. We're gonna mix it with some different chairs to make it a little bit funky, so we're not totally predictable. We're also going to address the window treatments. Right now, the shears are great, but they're totally blocking off what is a wonderful selling feature, which is the wonderful molding that you have going around the window. Overall, it's going to feel like cottage style with a little bit of funk and a little bit of fashion. Like it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Loving it.
Next stop, the butler's pantry.
Okay.
All right, we're going to bring in some fashion with color. We're gonna paint the entire cabinet this wine color. Not everybody has a butler's pantry, so we really need to show it off. It's wonderful. And as a butler would do, he would announce who's here. This butler's pantry is going to announce to our buyers that there's an awesome kitchen waiting for them.
Okay.
Good, let's go. Right now, there is not much for the butler to announce.
Okay.
But I've got a plan. Countertops, need new ones.
Can do.
Simple, replace that.
Not a problem.
Cabinets, uppers, okay. Lowers, not good. This is where we bring in our fashion. We are gonna use fabric to conceal the radiator that's underneath the sink.
Oh.
It's a simple trick, a little bit of sewing, easy sewing. Window treatments, taking them out. Wallpaper, it's already peeling in some spots. I want you to finish the job. Got a big black hole up here. I've got a big cabinet to go right in place. So when we're done, a buyer's gonna see a beautiful, pulled together kitchen that's loaded with storage. So are you guys excited?
Yes.
All right, me too.
Coming up, Dale and Robert enter the black hole.
I'm not gonna be responsible for what's behind it.
And Monica delivers some bad news.
We've cleared away our draperies only to see that we have huge problems with our windows.
Next.
I'm Kim Miles, and I'm wishing you and your family a beautiful holiday. From everyone here at HGTV.
Does your coffee maker have what it takes to make that perfect cup of coffee? The Cuisinart Burr Grind and Brew does. It knows how to treat the beans. It grinds the precise amount for every cup, whether you want it mild, medium, or strong. Its built-in burr grinder custom crushes, never chops, making its grind better, not bitter. For coffee that's not just fresh, it's the most flavorful from bean to brew. Available at fine stores everywhere.
Houdini the magician escaped from handcuffs in 3 seconds. Houdini the corkscrew opens a wine bottle in 3 seconds. Houdini the magician escaped from an underwater trunk. Presto. Houdini the corkscrew ejects the cork. Presto. Houdini the magician was locked in a straitjacket high over the city and escaped. Houdini the corkscrew was tested for 20,000 cork pulls and never failed. The Houdini corkscrew by Metro Cane.
When it comes to Italian sauce, some people prefer this jar, but more people prefer this sauce. Winner of the blind taste test. The sweet and savory taste of Prego. It's in there.
She's headed to Kohl's biggest Christmas sale with over 250 Power Hour specials late Friday and early Saturday. Like Missy's Apartment 9 cashmere sweaters, all toys and watches. Plus get $10 Kohl's cash for every 50 spent at Kohl's biggest Christmas sale. Kohl's, expect great things.
The Polar Express, rated G. You can bring home the magic in 3D.
Isn't that amazing?
Also, pick up Happy Feet, rated PG.
What you doing with your feet?
They're happy too.
Great holiday gifts for the whole family. Now on Blu-ray and DVD.
HGTV has what you want. New Year's Day. First, Australian import Jamie Dury knows what you want.
I'm constantly traveling, searching for inspiration.
Awesome. Awesome.
The Outdoor Room. Then, Antonio is back, taking unexpected spaces over the top.
I'm really stoked on the whole thing.
On the Antonio treatment. And get your first look at the HGTV Dream Home, New Year's Day. It all starts at 9/8 Central on HGTV.
Well, it's workday number 1 at Dale and Marvella's house, and Monica Peterson and her team are ready to revamp the home's quaint cottage style. It's a long checklist of jobs, so Michael Johnson and carpenters Robert North and Chad Lopez had better get started.
There she is.
Oh, yeah.
Now we know it's workday 1.
Because you have a storage bin for clearing out some stuff? Now we've cleared our room out, we've cleared away our draperies, only to see that we have huge problems with our windows. Uh-oh. Yeah. All right, it's common in old homes that we have layers and layers of paint, and sometimes we have a little bit of seepage, but it's not good for selling because windows are expensive and we want our windows to be as presentable as possible. I've got some fancy tools. I want you to gently go along and start scraping off some of the paint, and then we'll go outside and work on the outside as well.
We got to get behind here, clear out whatever's back there, and we got to frame out for the new cabinet that's going to go up.
I'm not going to be responsible for what's behind me. That's all I want to know. Whoa.
What you got, man? Holy moly. I think that was like your second storage area. If I tell you what, you start passing, I'll do something with it.
All right. Trick or treat.
Oh, man.
That's it.
Got your phone back there?
Phone.
Man,
her gardening gloves.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, we got to get back in here and do our framing and get our cabinet up.
Okay,
all right.
Let's do it.
This looks scary.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Don't be scared. We have more of a problem on the outside of the windows.
Okay.
Because we're seeing the brown from the inside, and that doesn't look very good. So we're gonna work out here for a little while, have some fun. I'll get another ladder. And your windows are gonna be worth a lot more money when we're finished.
All right, man. So apparently we have to take down this lovely, beautiful, fantastic track lighting. Unfortunately, it's held up with really long toggle bolts that are probably gonna take like 20 minutes to get down.
This is gonna take 2 weeks.
And you're doing a great job.
One T-bolt out. Now yank it down?
No yanking. Okay, yeah, gently just kind of pry it away from the wall.
Like that?
Ish. That was gentle-ish.
Come on. Come on. What happened to gentle?
Help is back down.
You come to join me finally, huh? Wax on, wax off.
Yeah. I can handle this. This is not bad at all.
It's coming.
It makes our old windows look like new windows.
I have no problem with that.
All we need to do now is patch up these holes, because Monica wants this to disappear.
No sign of tracking.
No sign of tracking.
Okay.
So what you want to do is just run this mesh tape right over the hole, just like that. You just want to give the drywall compound something to adhere to, and then rip it off. While you're doing that, I'm going to come behind you with joint compound, because it's 5 minutes. All right, that's it. Fine.
This is where we bring in our wonderful accent color. We're not gonna put the doors back on these sections.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Right now, the look of exposed shelving is really hot. By leaving the doors off, we're gonna have that look, but it's also gonna create some depth and make this space feel a little bit bigger. Here's our fun little fashion color. It's called the Beaujolais. Doesn't it make you want some wine? Maybe we can have some wine and celebrate with some Beaujolais when you sell your house.
There we go.
There you go.
Now, the space is bigger than our cabinet. So what we want to do is get it in place. Move it toward you just a hair. Right there. You had it?
I got it.
Beautiful. 2 more at the top and we're done.
Okay.
That's it. Let it go. All right? Job well done, sir.
Coming up, Marvella earns her stripes, painting stripes, while Dale earns his trying to sand them out.
Because Monica's only going to be happy if they blend.
Stay tuned.
Antonio is coming in March to HGTV. But New Year's Day, we're giving you a sneak peek.
I'll give you the Antonio treatment.
See him take unexpected spaces.
Got the whole place blasted with paint. Don't screw this up.
And rock them out.
That's all I need, baby. I've never not delivered a job.
Antonio style.
HGTV has never seen anything like this.
Meet the rebel of redesign. Watch the Antonio treatment. Special preview New Year's Day after the Rose Parade on HGTV.
Introducing the ultimate gas grill for race fans and gearheads alike. Hot Rod Grills. The only full-scale engine-style gas grill on the market built with a realistic engine look. Manufactured with die-cast aluminum heads and block, lid, and body. Perfectly cooked steaks and burgers at your next barbecue or tailgating event with Hot Rod Grills. This professionally built gas grill sports 2 stainless steel tube burners, electric igniter, stainless steel cooking rate, and a professional-grade temperature gauge. To order, go to hotrodgrills.com or call toll-free 877-74-GRILL. Order now and get free shipping and handling.
At the Style Network, we've given away prizes before, but nothing as big as this. Meet Super Nanny. Really, it's Style's I Want My Super Nanny sweepstakes. One lucky winner will get a trip to Los Angeles to spend time with Joe Frost, and we'll even treat you to a day at Disneyland. Imagine a family vacation where your kids might actually behave. How's that for holiday cheer? Go to mystyle.com/supernanny right now to enter. And don't miss Super Nanny. Every meltdown, every miracle, every night at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Style Network.
There's something your orange juice isn't telling you, at least not where you're likely to see it. Tropicana imports some of their juice, and they tell you in letters this small. As soon as you see the name Florida's Natural, you'll know it's made from 100% Florida oranges.
Beautiful. From Estee Lauder.
Give her the most romantic gift of all. Beautiful eau de parfum spray, body lotion, shower gel, and travel spray. Just $79.50. Now at Macy's.
Looking to stretch your food dollars? Pick Del Monte canned peas over the leading frozen brand. And without sacrificing taste or nutrition, Get a whole lot more for the same sweet price.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us.
It's our biggest December sale ever at Toys R Us. Get our lowest prices of the season. You can get everything on your kids' wish list at Toys R Us, where you'll find more of this year's hottest toys. Hurry in for big savings and great deals on Lego, Barbie, and more. It's 1 week only. Don't miss it. Toys R Us, where kids are a big deal.
All right, Martabella. Robert's gonna help us here. Thank
we need some help here.
We need some help. Okay, although we used a level to make our marked pencil, you still need to tape it and eyeball it before you start painting.
And that's that.
All right, step back.
Looks pretty good to me.
Looks good. And if it's not, we'll be fixing it with some paint. All right, speaking of paint, let's get started. So remember not to get too much paint on the roller. You want to do light layers, light strokes of paint. You're doing a great job, Robert.
Ooh, I got a compliment.
As my kids would say, this is an awesome color.
This is what the buyers are going to say, too. Awesome color.
All right, Dale. Our task
All
is to make this, you know, your old cut up, kind of stained and nasty looking countertop look like your new countertop that we're putting in. So the challenge is going to be making these two blend together. Because Monica's only going to be happy if they blend.
Well, how do we do that?
What you're going to do is actually sand down past this white stuff, that's your old surface.
Okay.
And make it look just like this new surface here.
We've got our second coat on. We need to get the tape off before it's totally dry.
Oh.
All right.
Wow, that's pretty.
Isn't that pretty? So once this is totally dry, we're gonna retape the stripes for the lighter stripe. If we would have allowed the paint to completely dry, some of it may come up with the tape.
All right, let's bring your old one in. Let's see what we got. You see? Look how beautiful it is. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna oil both surfaces, and the oil's actually gonna tint this a little bit and make it match up to that.
Okay.
Let's see how it turned out with our match here.
Wow.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
So this is our darling little fabric. I just sewed these little rod pockets, very simple. And they are gonna go right in. Look, isn't that adorable? Okay, that's what buyers are gonna say. They're not gonna go, oh, that's adorable.
That is.
And that's what we want. No more ugly radiator, no more break. Fabric rest is over. Let's paint. So lighter stripe, we're each gonna take a wall. Have fun, stay in between the lines.
All right, Monica, that's it.
We're good here. So let's let it set for a second, and then we'll take the tape off before it's completely dry, and then the reveal.
Beautiful.
Good?
Brush is high.
Great work.
Coming up,
I think we've definitely succeeded in charming any potential buyers.
we'll let house hunters be the judge of that.
That's very stylish right now. I like that.
The open house is next on Design to Sell.
Get ready, America, for HGTV's bold new import from Down Under, Jamie Dury.
I think it's going to be a really interesting journey.
The Outdoor Room with Jamie Dury. Series premiere New Year's Day at 10 p.m. after the HGTV Dream Home Special.
This is the information retailers don't want you to know, especially now. They don't want you to learn just how much money you've been giving away to retail markups on items you purchase for your home. All because you don't know how to buy like the insiders do at Direct Buy Club, the home improvement and furnishings club with direct insider prices.
The best thing about Direct Buy is you're getting the best price that you can, and it's very easy to go shopping at Direct Buy.
I've purchased coffee pot, toaster, blender, food processor, all of those things. The savings is significant. It truly is.
And now, for the first time ever, Direct Buy is offering you a certificate for a free 30-day membership. Members buy top-quality name-brand merchandise from hundreds and hundreds of trusted manufacturers. So call the number on your screen now and we'll rush you your free visitor's pass to your local Direct Buy Club and your certificate for a free 30-day membership. This is a limited offer, so call now. No dealers, please.
Sunday, Jenny McCarthy returns in Santa Baby, Christmas Baby.
You're going on strike at Christmas?
At the North Pole, everything is going south.
You have your list of demands?
We want cookies with sprinkles on top and bottom.
A new ABC Family original movie. Santa Baby, Christmas Maybe. Premieres Sunday at 8, 7 Central. Part of 25 Days of Christmas, only on ABC Family.
Just a few hours, all those Welch's Concord grapes will be juiced. How Welch's squeezes their grapes is important too. They use the pulp, the seeds, the skin, everything to make 100% grape juice loaded with antioxidant power. 100% grape.
Rated E for everyone. Introducing the Your Shape video game. Your Shape adapts to your goals, adjusts to your needs, and builds a fitness routine personalized to you. Then Your Shape's motion tracking camera detects your moves so I can correct your form, all while you exercise controller-free. Your Shape for Wii and PC. It's fitness that's fun and focused on you.
Definitely. Oh, hello. What do we have here? Wow. I wonder who assembled you.
Who can resist? TV solutions perfect for mounting your new flat screen from IKEA.
Giving Dale and Marvella's house an overhaul took every bit of our time and money. Has Monica's plan to accent the home's cottage style worked? Before buyers arrive for the open house, let's take a look.
Our goal was to turn on the cottage charm. I think we've definitely succeeded in charming any potential buyers.
Surpassed it.
Surpassed it. I love that enthusiasm.
Before, the dining room looked worn and outdated, with peeling paint and granny curtains. Now it's stylish, inviting, and full of valuable assets.
We brought our stripes in, which are traditional, but we had a little more fun with them, and it draws our eye right around the room. Our new furniture warms it up. It's still a big table. I know you guys like big furniture. We're also drawing our buyers' attention to one more really important selling point, the amazing trim work in the room. Our windows are cleaned up. Good job on that. Simple window treatments. Now buyers can see all of the great windows that you've got. All right, let's keep going. What a difference a coat of paint makes. This color is fun. It's given us wonderful depth. It's about showing off a great selling feature.
The old butler's pantry looked like a dingy passageway, unworthy of a second look. Now, with bold colors and eye-catching shelving, buyers won't miss this unique space.
Paint did the trick. Exposed shelving has made it feel bigger. And now we have somewhere to show off all of your beautiful things. We still have plenty of storage and lots of beauty. We've also given our buyers a reason to want to get into the rest of the kitchen. Let's go.
Let's go.
Our kitchen was all about renewal. We had to renew the charm in the space.
Before, the kitchen was falling apart at the seams with worn-out countertops and rickety cabinets. Now, thanks to our fixes, the original cottage charm shines through.
We renewed the old countertop with a little bit of sanding, and we brought in a new wood countertop. We've also given you more storage above our work area and took care of a very huge problem. Buyers are never going to complain about having too much storage.
Monica's funky accents make this kitchen one of a kind.
My favorite thing we've done, we brought in some fun fabric, concealed the ugly radiator, used a two-tone effect to create some interest. Overall, it looks like major overhaul, and it was simply renewing little finishes. Good?
Awesome.
So, where did our $2,000 budget go? Thanks to all the new furniture, the dining room tops the list. The kitchen comes in second, while the tiniest project room, the butler's pantry, eats up the smallest amount. Tack on materials and supplies, and our total spent squeaks in at $1,999.
I think we're in fabulous shape. You're getting closer to moving to Memphis. Should we go take a break for the open house?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Oh, this is pretty. I like the light fixture. I like the horizontal stripes. Nice sized room. This is a big table. You can put a lot of people around it.
Beautiful colors, and the striping is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I love the crown molding.
Yeah,
Beautiful. You don't find that in new houses. Gorgeous. The windows, the whole wall of windows.
I love the colors. The way the balance picks up the color over here in the wall color, and then it matches the stripes in the dining room. Very nice.
Beautiful space. Nice place to store dishes. This has got to be part of the original house.
This is nice. I like the built-in buffets. I like that it's an extra storage for glasses and odds and ends.
Oh, I love that idea. Aren't those cute? Some of the cabinets are painted, and then some of them are the natural wood. And that's very stylish right now. I like that.
Butcher block countertop, I really like that. I kind of like this. It's got an open feel about it. Really good open feel. Everything is gorgeous, and a chandelier. Perfect.
I think we might have found the perfect room.
I think we might have found a good buyer, too.
Ooh.
Well, Dale and Marvella had several showings after the open house, but their Memphis move couldn't wait for a sale. Even though they are now settled in their new city, they are confident the changes Monica and the team made will get their place sold.
Collect some candy and have a reward chart all at the same time.
Here's my resume. Here it is.
No wonder the man couldn't get a job. What y'all got going on up in this joint?
This modern space is about to get a boost of old world handmade holiday cheer. Looks, can we carve out a Christmas to remember?
Well, this says Scott Irish.
But it says nothing about old world. Next on Design on a Dime. Mark and Jerry McCorkle head up a tight-knit family that's proud of its Gaelic ancestry. The clan looks forward to reveling at the holidays, but when they unpacked their new home a few months ago, the decorating ghost of Christmas past came a-haunting.
Although ornaments like this are nice to have sitting around, I don't think it really displays the kind of feel for Christmas that we really want.
For the McCorkles, Christmas is all about the spirit of giving.
My wife's responsible for coordinating the local Christmas toy drive.
Our kids are involved in all aspects of the toy drive. They help with many facets, decorating and just participating with the families. It's a great family activity for them.
It's really become a family affair.
It's time for the McCorkles to start their own family holiday traditions. We're going to turn their spacious, modern living room into an old-world Celtic Christmas. Hey, guys.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi. This is a good-sized room.
Yes, it is.
So I can imagine that everybody can gather in here. And do you guys wind up entertaining a lot during the holidays?
Yes, we do.
So we need to accommodate people. We also need it to be warm. Where does the tree normally go? How have you in the past decorated this space?
Our decorations have been from our 23 years of marriage and kind of run the gamut.
You're going to make some new traditions in this house, kind of take a new approach. What are you thinking?
Well, we're Scott Irish, and we'd really like to connect with those roots, that Celtic, traditional, old world type of Christmas look.
Perfect. All right, well, with that said, I see that you do have some items over here that you've used in the past, so let's take a look at those. And for starters, what is she doing here?
We went to the store and we did a Hawaiian-themed Christmas. Everybody wore leis, and a friend dropped her off in a muumuu unexpectedly, and so she's revisited. We think she's quite funny.
I love her. High five. That's the best Christmas theme I've ever heard. What I love is that you've always had fun with Christmas. It looks like you guys really embrace this holiday and go with it.
Yes, we do. It's my favorite holiday. It brings out the spirit of everybody, and we enjoy it.
So I think we can give you things that could stay up year-round. We're gonna do some research, really incorporate your heritage. You guys, I mean, you've done Tiki Christmas, so I think you're pretty much open, right?
Go for it.
Go for it?
I think this is a blank canvas.
And I'm really looking forward to it. The challenge with an old world Christmas theme is that we have to build everything because nothing can have a modern or purchase look to it. A darker wall color will immediately make this large space feel warm and cozy. We'll use old world lighting elements like sconces, a chandelier, and the traditional Yule log. Thickly textured fabric will serve as window treatments and will create a handmade runner for the dining table. Finally, one wall will be dressed to look like planks and decorated with vintage sleds. Shopping is certainly a fun part of the holidays, but we're only looking for old world inspiration.
The one thing that we're battling is the modern elements in the house. And I think that's easily corrected, you know? I mean, I think if we can do some kind of a log effect inside the doorways.
And what that ultimately kind of conveys is that there's old architecture that has maybe been built upon.
The one thing they're really missing in the room is a fireplace. That's such a natural focal point for a Christmas scene. So my solution would be to either find one at a store.
Mantle?
Yes, a mantle, exactly. But if I don't find one, then I can build one out.
I've been trying to figure out how to incorporate their family crest, really get their Scott-Irish heritage in there. I think that's a great way to nail it. And you can go online and do the history, you know, the lineage of all the different family names. So that would be a perfect place to put the crest over the fireplace, something they can put up every year in every house.
I think they'll really enjoy that.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Before they had candy canes and all that stuff to put on the tree, they would put cookies on, just plain cookies, and that was supposed to be the reward for taking down the tree.
Aha.
So I think I'd like to do a little baking.
So I think these are all great ideas, and what we are learning is that we are going to have to probably make everything by hand.
Yes.
But what we should do here today is get some inspiration for what we're gonna make.
Well, let's go get inspiration.
Traditionally, 100 or so years ago, this is what would have lit the tree.
Well, it looks a little bit dangerous.
Just a little bit, doesn't it?
It is, but people only lit their trees for an hour at night. People now run them all day long, so this isn't going to work. But I like these, though they're expensive, because we really do get the look of a real candle as opposed to something that has Christmas lights on the
And
top.
since they're large, we don't need to buy all that many.
For $100, we can get 42 with this strand.
Well, this says Scott Irish.
But it says nothing about Old World.
All right, let's keep looking.